Alex Caiafa joins us to talk AFL on The Informer. Alex, welcome back.
G'day George, good to be here again.
A week is a long time in football, mate, and Eddie Maguire is featured, Collingwood is featured, and you remarked just before we started recording, your father told you a fabulous line about Collingwood, and that was?
Yep, there's that famous saying, all things come in threes, and threes that's happened to Collingwood. They've had the side bottom incident, the Eddie Maguire comments, and now the De Goey investigation.
Now we should explain the Eddie Maguire comment was that should anything happen like that, the next person nailed or seen to be doing the wrong thing should be banned for the season. And the next thing that happened was the steel side bottom issue. Yeah. He was caught intoxicated, half naked, wandering the streets in Williamstown. Yeah. And the police, of course, ended up in a divvy van. Yep. So special moments, but as Eddie has done for the better part of the last decade, he just
seems to sweep it off, and
brushed it off. Nothing to see here.
Sweep it under the rug.
What did you make of it?
I just think it's hypocrisy at its finest. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Now, is there any football going on this weekend?
There is. They're under strict quarantine though. They're only allowed to play and train. And
are there any games in Victoria happening?
No, this is the first time in AFL history that each team that's playing is playing on a level playing field, and it's no home ground advantage.
No home ground advantage. Wow.
Which is strange.
Okay, so what are we likely to see? But let's reflect before we go on and have a look at the matches being played this week. What did you make of last week's happenings and the scores?
Yeah, I think most scores were to be expected. I was not expecting Brisbane to come out and dish out what they did to Port Adelaide. That was very surprising.
Meaningful and special. Can they do that away from home? That'll be the next question for them.
Yep.
Port Adelaide, that have been flying so high, we had said, who have they won against? Well, they ran up against a pretty stiff side called Brisbane, and they knocked them over. And pretty convincingly. What did you make of Collingwood through all this muck off the field? What was it like on the field?
They dominated early, and then they got the wet weather came and they got ran over.
Oh, so Magpies not recommended in the wet.
Their style of game just completely stopped, and Essendon Essendon wanted it more. And you could see
the sides that impressed you last week?
I think I hate to say it, but Essendon were really, really impressive. Brisbane have. They're starting to stamp their authority as a genuine premiership favourite right now. I think the Bulldogs were very good as well. They very convincing against North Melbourne. Now
the Geelong Cats playing at home against the Gold Coast Suns did get over the line, but it wasn't one-way traffic.
Yeah, it was really competitive. Geelong got the good start, and then Gold Coast, this is where they're showing their maturity a bit. They came back a bit and they really stuck with it, but in that last quarter, just Geelong's experience got them over the top.
Stuart Dew's handling of this Gold Coast Suns side, can you see his game plan? Do you think it'll stand up?
You can. They're starting to get a bit more attacking. They're going harder at it. They're hunting in numbers now, and we just haven't seen that before, especially in the earlier years when they first came in.
One club that doesn't hunt, doesn't use the word hunt in any way, shape or form is Adelaide at the moment.
Yeah,
they got run into by the Dockers.
Yeah, they're in a bit of trouble at the moment. The Crows.
A bit of trouble.
They're miles behind.
Have you got family in Adelaide at the moment? Have you?
I do actually, but no, they're just miles behind it at the moment, and there's a rebuild. I mean, you could even make a case they're under that at the moment. They just look a team that's disinterested and just. No. Let's
talk Carlton. We left it to the very end. We've said it, we don't like Marvel, but again, St Kilda beat us fair and square.
Yeah, no, they got us from the get-go, and that's been Carlton's issues. Whenever they've lost, they've had terrible starts, and St Kilda started like...
And the umpiring, of course, was very special. Have you seen more penalties for 50 given in one game than the one we had last week against St Kilda? It seemed every time I looked up at the screen, it was another 50 metre.
Yeah. Just some of the protected area ones are a bit questionable.
Let's move on.
But whatever.
This week, what are the games and what are you tipping?
We've got Geelong first up against Brisbane tonight at the SCG. and that'll be a cracking game. Last year they had that little 1-goal game where McCarthy kicked the goal with a few seconds to go to get Brisbane the win, and I'm expecting a similar game. It's not going to be easy. I'm tipping Brisbane. I think you just got to go. They're in a bit more form.
Yep.
They're playing exciting football and got to ride with it.
Okay, next game?
Next we have Collingwood against Hawthorn. And this is the interesting thing. People think Collingwood are due for a win. Well, I'll give you a little stat. Collingwood, since the 2011 prelim, have only beaten Hawthorn once. And Hawthorn have won every other time.
Eddie, if you need that stat, just ring us at TheInformer and Alex will pass it on.
So
it's a good stat.
It's a very alarming stat for Collingwood, and given Collingwood are now missing DeGoey, they're missing Howe already, they're missing Sidebottom as well. I'm putting my tip on Hawthorn to get up again.
Alistair Clarkson will be happy.
Yep.
Okay, next game.
Next game we have St Kilda against Fremantle at Metricon Stadium, and I think, judging by recent results, that should be a fairly straightish forward for St Kilda.
Okay.
In that one.
Yep.
Next is West Coast against Adelaide at the Gabba.
One-way traffic at the Gabba, I would have thought.
You'd like to think one-way traffic there as well, given West Coast were pretty impressive in that second half against Sydney.
So, and Adelaide haven't got.
They're in all sorts.
They haven't got the horses at the moment, it looks like, and they haven't got the interest.
Yeah, they haven't got the desire to win, and their disposal, their goal kicking. Next we have Melbourne against Gold Coast.
Okay.
I'm tipping Melbourne here. I think they're due. I don't think
you've been hoping they'd be due for a couple of weeks.
Look, Melbourne last week against Richmond, that fourth quarter, they had all the momentum. Just some silly decisions late on cost them dearly, and I just think they're due.
All right, next game.
Next is Essendon against North Melbourne, and that's a very tricky game as well, because North Melbourne are just one of those teams where,
and they match up pretty well against the Bombers. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so where's it being played?
It's being played at Metricon.
Okay.
As well. Right. So again, on a level playing field. Tough game to pick. I'm going with the form team, which is Essendon. Okay. But this is one of those games that could swing both ways as well. Next, we've got Port Adelaide against GWS at Metricon, and this is another test for Port Adelaide. They've come across Brisbane. You could say they didn't pass the test. Now they're coming up against a GWS team who's starting to find themselves.
That's right.
A little bit over the last couple of weeks. So I'm tipping GWS in this one. I think they've just got that bit more talent, and they're flying at the moment. Next we've got Richmond against Sydney at the Gabba. And
so who's playing? Which one of the sides is going to turn up to be the real Sydney or the real Tigers?
Yeah, well, I'm tipping Richmond. I think despite missing
so many players,
some star talent there, they've got enough depth on that list. And then you think they've still got Dusty and Rewalt and Grimes, and they've still got a lot of.
Stop with the Tigers folklore.
Yeah.
Next,
and then the last game, it's the Blue Boys against the Bulldogs.
Okay.
And
we notoriously, as of late, have a problem with the Bulldogs, don't we?
No, actually, surprisingly not. Well,
I was playing the default card, hoping that you'd give me some good news, and you have.
No, surprisingly not last year. So Easter Sunday in round 5, Carlton beats the Bulldogs.
But that was at the G, wasn't it?
No, that was at Mount Marvel.
Mount Marvel, okay.
Yeah, so Carlton got up by 44, and then in round 13, the Bulldogs got up by 3 points after Carlton were trailing by 30 points twice in the game and come back.
So this game is being played.
This is being played at Metricon.
Okay.
At the Gold Coast. So I think I don't know. I'm sneaky confident here that Carlton could just get it done, despite the doggies flying at the moment, and they're missing a couple players as well, some key players for them, and I think Carlton match up all right on the Bulldogs. So I'm going to sneaky tip the Blue Boys.
All right, and that's it.
That's it for the round.
Alex Caiafa has done it again. He's just given us a little glimpse of something exciting happening at Metricon for the Navy Blue Boys.